surface there, so there's a fast point over there. Sorry, it's your edge detailing. Where's Alex?
Well, we
you had a fast airflow around the edge.
Yeah.
You were influenced by it because you had a wing shape.
Our form is basically derived from it, using it to kind of like aerodynamically funnel the wind through the centre of the two towers.
You put wind turbines at the top, I saw.
We've got them. Yeah, we've got them all the way through. Like this is, they go. You see up here. They go like on lines following the form down through the centre, and there's like 4 sections through. So space, because we use these space called.
Would they not work more efficiently in a zone like that when you've got the wind coming through as opposed to down here in this zone where it's kind of blocked?
Yeah, they've only got like we've got two like big ones at the top where the wind's obviously faster, and then but we might just use a whole form because our site is so open as well. It's not affected by other buildings.
No. Well, there was a question whether you'd have to vary the size of the wind turbine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's on production idea, but having the same size but fixing the side is good. It's a good one because you could mass produce them.
Yeah. Originally we had just a massive grid of it going through, but we decided to use. We were talking to one of the guys that came in, a wind expert, and he said that because of the shape, we should use the shape of the building to place the wind turbines down it, as opposed to having like a big grid across it.
Yeah. How did you resolve the structure on this one?
Had to resolve the structure. Well, because it's got 2 towers and they join together in the middle, it meant that it could be. We used like a diagrid structure.
Where's that?
It's down here.
So you've got this.
Yeah, this is kind of like showing. This kind of breaks down the structure of our building.
The model kind of indicates a bit more fluidity in the form than the computer render does.
You think?
You know, in terms of there's a little bit more kind of almost human-esque sculpture in there.
Yeah.
Which is quite beautiful, but it'd be difficult.
I think this is the first image we kind of came up with, and that's where we went from really. I think the computer render is showing the full plates inside and the grid, but in reality it would be more reflective, and I think it would be a more kind of organic form. We want it to be as smooth as possible as well. That's why we've tried to keep the structure within the airstream.
Help the airflow through.
Yeah.
I mean, my site where I had was that your floor plate size is very small. When you've got a double skin facade, and maybe there's been a bit of kidology. We've been sort of lulled into loving the shape, but we haven't really tested you hard on the floor plates.
Well, yeah, we worked really hard. We worked really hard making the floor plates work because obviously we had kind of a different shape building than anyone had really, and so we had to make sure everything could fit and it would work like economically. So we had the office space on the bottom where they have the larger floor plates, and then we had this sky lobby, which is also connected into, I think, is it 20 Bank Street? 25, so this is like a kind of a mixing zone, and then you have the residential going above, and then with the smaller floor plates at the top, you can have like just like luxury apartments where you would only have 2 apartments on one floor.
I mean, I don't think anybody needs to feel embarrassed if you didn't get every single aspect of your building resolved. The reality is that you're dealing with a very complex building typology and very complex shape. And you know, if this was in a practice, then you'd have a team of tens and tens of architects spending several months, if not years, working this out. So it's important, I think, you get through to the fundamental concepts of the design and the technology, the structural systems and things. But you know, you're never going to get everything.
They measured much more on the sort of on the sociology of the building and the user choice. They call it the pixelated tower. That would mean that people could vary the facades of their apartments, including mount glazing.
No, I saw that. That was really quite interesting.
Everybody would have to have some PV in their facade, and then they get some kind of rebate on their bills, depending on how much PV they had. So there's an incentive for each family to have more PV than everybody else. I mean, they probably, I always felt they overdid it in the sense of the circulation of the community tower. The big extra circulation here is bigger than the residential tower supports, which is kind of amused us. And I'm sure that the people with developers' hats on would be rapidly trimming that back. But in terms of bioclimatic design, they were filling every available space left over with microturbines. And theoretically, I think you could build more community facilities in there as the tower evolves over time, and you could either take out or put in more microturbines when changes occur. So it's podular.
Did you all enjoy the module? Yeah? Was it got a lot of... Well, I mean, one thing I just wanted to put across to you today is in terms of thinking about your future and what we're going to do in the future. I mean, at the minute, most, if not all of you, are probably thinking, get this thing called architectural education finished with and get a job in practice and so on and so forth. But if you're really interested in this kind of work, there are alternative career paths for some people. And certainly my job, my role now as director of the council, I'm finding the whole world is opening up to me personally in our organisation in terms of opportunities. And to give you this guy as an example, Phil sat my second year or third year, sat my first tall building module in third year, which was what, 4 years ago? 5 years ago. So Phil did the tall building project in third year, went and worked for a year, came back, glutton for punishment, did another tall building module in his 5th year. I couldn't persuade him to do it for tall building for his thesis in 6th year, but then Phil, as you know, Phil is now doing a PhD in tall building technologies based here in Nottingham. And Phil is getting very instrumental, not only in the tall building teaching and research group, but also in the council. He's helping us a lot, what goes on. If you don't know a great deal about the council, you can look at the website. I mean, one of the, probably David's told you, but the thing that's top of my radar at the minute is our April College, which is going to be in Dubai next year, March. We've invited people like Al Gore, Ken Livingston, so it works from the political level to the city level and then to the tall building level. So Ken Yang is one of the keynote speakers. We've invited Rem Koolhaas, various other people, Richard Rogers. So that's going to be a fairly big lineup for that. But I guess what I'm trying to say to you is, if anyone fancied pursuing a kind of master's degree or possibly even a PhD in research, or feel that they wouldn't mind a stint in Chicago helping out with the council or whatever, then stay in touch with me, or get in touch with me, stay in touch with me, and tell me what you're about, because I'm always looking for people that are highly motivated to kind of match against these opportunities we have for funding.
Lego silly about this platform.
The idea was that did you look at the possibility of getting
yeah, or even just that's floor plate, big office floor plate, that would attract a bank or somebody to come in and take that, take his over, and that would be a major economic boost to the building. But up here where you've got a school and a residential, different things happening. So that void could have come in and out a little bit just to reflect that. Because although reads brilliantly, we've spoken of one area where you leave yourself up to criticism, and if you actually did a study of what the usable efficiency of that building is, it's probably 20%. When you take out your cools and your void, now, most built towers are somewhere in the region of, say, 60 to 75% usable efficiency. The Commerce Bank, which is probably as inefficient as it gets in terms of space, is given over to institutions, that still operates at about